Welcome back to Varsity College Football, your new home for college football and only college football. If you can see that subscribe button, please click. Helps the channel out a lot, wants us to grow. Leave a like or comment if you please, something you want to talk about, I'll get on it. But you're here today for the video. I got quite an interesting surprise topic, not necessarily directly team related, but college football related. I was having some interesting thoughts the past 2 weeks, and I ended up seeing a quote that actually made me really want to make a video about this. Watching a video about Ben Affleck, and he was talking about his wife. Obviously, everyone knows who she is, being a superstar, movie star, and how it's just so much different now than it used to be then. And I'd been having these thoughts about college football players being such big superstars. And is that era kind of over, or like, am I having the wrong thought process on this? But I want to get this video out there because I want to hear other people's opinions. Like, do I have something wrong? Am I missing something? Is there input that someone can provide to bring me value into the light of this topic? And I just kind of want to start this discussion. I'd love for some comments or anyone else's opinions on this just to engage with conversation, because I find this a very infatuating topic. So basically, is the superstar era in college football over? Ben Affleck said, everybody has a personalized, curated celebrity now. So that's when he was asked about his wife, superstar and everything going crazy. But it's like, I think about the players, and personally, I don't think there's any superstars in college football anymore. Now, is that not good athletes? No. The athletes are better than ever. They're going to continue to get better than ever. They're more athletic. They're crazy, crazy talented at every position. The size, the speed is at an unknown level we've ever seen. But it's not like I'm saying they don't make them like they used to, or people have that argument, or they'll be like, the players just don't want it. They don't have the drive anymore. It's not that. This isn't an old man yells at cloud argument. I think it's more so everything outside of college football has made it this way. So, like, basically, it's kind of like the media space. Like, how I am being able to talk to you now is kind of one of the things I'm talking about. There's so many avenues for distribution of content and access for consumption of said content. So, like I was saying, there's so many avenues now. Rather than, the best way I put this is, when I was a kid, okay, watching Tim Tebow play football, the only time I'd see wow, Tebow was about to come out right there, the southern accent. Tim Tebow, the only time I'd see Tim Tebow was on sports. Either he's playing the Florida game, or he's on Sports Center talking about after, like when he had the press conference, after the famous press conference, you'll never see someone work as hard as me, all that jazz. And the only other time I'd see him, that's if I was able to stay up late enough to be able to watch the Sports Center, recycled highlights, or I'd see him the next day in a completely almost forgotten thing now, a newspaper in the sports section. If he was plastered on there when Florida was going crazy, it would be Tim Tebow on there with a static image. So I'm hardly ever able to see Tim Tebow. You know what I mean? Unless I'm watching him in game. So the only time I'm really seeing photos of him is like still images of him in this great moment. So do you see what I'm saying? This kind of creates a sense of superstardom, but immortality, like a demigod kind of feel to a player. Like, the only time I'm seeing Tim Tebow is doing something very amazing. And in these few avenues that you're able to consume content, I can't just go on YouTube and listen to someone talk about Tim Tebow. Or now, if you're a college football player, you can have a YouTube channel. There's so many avenues. Like, when Bryce Young was an incredible college football player, and he would have been a superstar, but he kind of wasn't, because there's just so much access to him. It's like, you can see what these players are doing in their everyday lives now. I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all. I just think this is kind of why, like, the whole social construct of social media and the media avenues has kind of played into this. People are becoming so much more familiar with people now. Like I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I'm walking by the TV, Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman Trophy. I know that he has a crazy highlight, and I sit there and I just walk past the TV and I go, I'll see it on Twitter. I'll see it on something later. Instead, this was 2008. Tim Tebow comes on the TV, or you see Vince Young come on the TV. You're like, and you sit there and you glue and you watch that TV. These players were bigger than life, like Bo Jackson in the 80s, man. Was Nike. I mean, the few outlets you'd have, Bo knows. Bo was on it. Reggie Bush, I guess this is really the only way, like, I have him on the graphic. Reggie Bush, the only way he was, or this is really the only time I think any team was similar to what coverage was today. And I think it was because in Los Angeles. But like, Reggie Bush was like, literally, when I was a kid, I thought Reggie Bush was immortal. And this whole thing that I want to say, since I said when I was a kid, I don't want this to seem like a nostalgic look back thing because that's not really what I'm trying to make it be. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm out of touch now. I'm too old. I'm not trying to make that argument where I think I'm trying to stay in with the kids kind of thing like that. I just think it really comes to the media coverage is the whole thing. But when the reason USC football was so big and crazy at that time too, the Rams and Chargers were not in Los Angeles. So it wasn't a pro football town. USC was the pro football there as well. So I mean, you got swaggy Matt Leinart trotting out there, man. I mean, you had a dude who now, if Matt Leinart, I don't know if I can find the picture of him necessarily, but like, if you had Matt Leinart now, they would have. I don't even know who they would have treated him. Just an average Joe, go of the mill, like a Brock Purdy, but college football version feel of him. I mean, like a complete game manager. They wouldn't have been calling Matt Leinart was the guy. Obviously, not the guy as Reggie Bush, but at USC was cool and everything because there was so many certain things and ways to consume stuff that they made him like that. And LA, obviously, being the market helps. But I'm kind of rambling on USC. But I really just want to point this out. I mean, you just like getting focused on one person now isn't really the thing. Like I said, there's so many avenues. There's a battle for screen time, camera time, and they want to feed, like Ben Affleck says, everyone has a personalized, curated celebrity. So now, like, we used to all gather in front of the TV and we would see that one person because that's who they would want us to see. Now, rather, it's more so they're giving you what you want to see rather than what they want you to see. Kind of with the media now because they want to feed everyone. They want to feed everyone's mouths with content they think they would like as well because there's such a battle in the media space now where it's almost kind of just so oversaturated. You can't have someone go to that level of insanity. Now in the NFL, you can argue about that, but I'm talking strictly college football. And it just doesn't feel like I have Johnny Manziel on here because I think he was the last true superstar. And I think a big thing of that is because of social media, like saying this media thing, but social media had already taken a boom. But I think in the mid 20 teens is kind of when it flew. Like that's when it all started to change. Like for everyone, companies, businesses outside of football, like I said, the whole world outside of college football changed so much that it's made it to where you can't have superstar. And I think Johnny Manziel was that last guy that you'd have. So I don't know if maybe I'm just, like I said, like overthinking it, thinking back, like I'm getting older. I mean, I could be wrong. Like like I said, I'd love to hear your comments on it. Like I'm not trying to come at this from the perspective of my era was better. Like the players are better now, all that kind of stuff, the advancement of sports science, just everything. But my point is like the access now is just so open regardless of the avenue. And players also have the privilege now, as they should, to talk to fans, like with YouTube channels and stuff like this and all their Instagram accounts. They can be in commercials, NIL stuff now. It's just like, and they do deserve that access. But I think just the way it is now with life around college football and everything that is around it has made it to where you can't have these people go to this level. And the last thing I'll leave you with is I just want to point this out if I can find it. Who was it? Yeah, Vince. Okay, so when I was young, I had the Rose Bowl. I think this was the greatest game in college football history, in the pinnacle of college football. Texas USC National Championship, Rose Bowl. I mean, nothing like it. He's going for the corner. He's got it. And you got Vince Young standing like this, Like I remember that exact pose because I had that cut out from the newspaper on my wall as a kid. And I couldn't just go watch Vince Young highlights on YouTube. I couldn't see Vince Young live streaming on Instagram or Twitch. So every time I walk in my room, maybe I see Vince Young on the video game, but he's not actually Vince Young. He's number 10 on NCAA 2005. And it's like, I see that static image. And every time I look at that image, I hear, he's going for the corner. He's got it. RIP Keith Jackson. But like literally, you see that static image of him and you continually replay that in your head. To like I talked about Tim Tebow earlier, you don't really see them failing because there were so few avenues you could consume these players that it was always like a glorified thing. So you had these players becoming, especially the children, I would say, like these immortal demigod kind of people, man. Like Reggie Bush, to me, I literally thought was like not from this planet. Watching him play football as a kid, I was like, that is the best football player I have ever seen in my entire life. And it's just insane. But like I said, with the Vince Young thing, just you see these static images or these few ways to consume them. So you always thought these guys were just bigger than life. Like everyone was only watching those few guys because that's what those few outlets would have. So like Sports Illustrated or Sports Illustrated for Kids, ESPN, you wouldn't normally have all these guys necessarily all over the news like you do now, regardless of sports, because they branch out to everything now. Because media now, you almost have to talk about everything to be relevant, which I don't like. I only really love college football. College football is my passion. It's truly the only thing I care about. So that's why I do want to do the reverse of that and have a channel that is strictly just college football. You enjoy NFL, great. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I watch the NFL for fun. I watch college football because I literally can't live without it. I can't breathe. I can't live. I can't sleep without college football. That's why I'm making stuff in the offseason because all I want to hear is college football. I don't care. Cool. Chiefs have their Super Bowl celebration, whatever, like that. Like, I want to know, like, where the next transfer signed, new NIL, new thing. We got everything going on with Tennessee, stuff like that. But like, I'm rambling now, but I would just love to know anyone else's opinion. Do they think the era of the superstar is over or dead? Or am I just looking at this from the wrong perspective?